Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the topic of how to practice your chord changes. I'm going to be giving you some techniques to help you get better and faster at going from chord to chord. This is something that a lot of you have been asking me about, and it's actually not that difficult to learn a good method of how to change from chord to chord. So let's get right into it. So first of all, you're probably going to want to start by choosing a song that you enjoy learning. I personally recommend choosing a song that has the progression with chords of A minor, C, G, and F. Those are generally the easiest chords to play when you're a beginner, so that's why I'm suggesting those ones. And there are so many songs that have those chords in them for the progression, so don't get worried about finding songs that you like. The one that a lot of people are usually drawn to is Riptide by Vance Joy because that has 3 chords of A minor, G, and C. Now when it comes to practicing the actual chord changes, there is one really big rule that I have, and that is that you don't want your fingers to end up out here in mid-air, not on the fretboard. That is bad, and that is the worst thing you can do for trying to practice chord changes successfully. So instead, what you're gonna do is take it one finger by a time and find a place for the finger, then you can move to the next one and find the correct place for that one. For example, using Riptide, starting on the A minor chord, when you're gonna go to switch to the G chord, which is the next one in the progression, instead of pulling your fingers off, like I said, not to do, you're gonna keep your middle finger on that top string and think about how you're gonna form the G chord, then take it one finger at a time. So you know your ring finger is gonna go down here. You know your middle finger is gonna have to jump on down to the bottom string, and then your index is gonna go right on top. So you see how that's a lot smoother of a transition going one finger at a time than pulling off and thinking, having a little bit of a freak out because you don't know where you're supposed to put it, and rebuilding the chord from scratch. The key word here is transition. You want to transition from chord to chord and not rebuild the whole thing. Especially if you're doing a song that has A minor, F, that's really easy because you would just put your index finger down and your middle finger stays where it's at. If you're going from F to A minor, then you just pull it off. And that would be really hard if you pulled off all your fingers and tried to start over. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go through the progression of A minor, G, C, just to show you how if I was going very slow, I would practice the chord change. So I would strum down on A minor, and also that's another tip, is just practice using single down strums, one on each chord to start off with, because that doesn't put as much pressure to keep you going faster to change the chord. You don't want to stress yourself out, because if you're trying to do a crazy strumming pattern and then switch the chord, it's gonna put more stress on you to hurry up and switch that chord faster. And if you don't have a lot of practice with that, your accuracy is gonna drop, and then it's just gonna mess you up practicing your chord changes, and it's not gonna be good. So one down strum, boom, 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 G chord. And then to your C chord, down, and then pull these 2 off. Down. Another really important thing here that you have to understand is it takes patience. It might take you 1 minute to figure out how to transition from the A to the G. Maybe it takes you 10 seconds to get to this part, and you have to think about where you're gonna put your next finger. Maybe you really don't know how to build a G chord that much, so you're looking down at your notes. That's okay, look down at your notes, figure out that this goes here, and still keep that one there, and then put this one up here. I don't care how long it takes you at the beginning, if it takes you 30 seconds or 5 minutes to switch from one chord to the next. Practice on that accuracy. And the more that you practice it, speed is going to come with that practice, and you're going to get that muscle memory of going from one formation to the next, and soon enough, you won't even have to think about it. So do one finger at a time and practice the progression over and over and over and over and over again. Some people might think that practicing the progression 10 times in a row is enough, and they get frustrated if they don't have it by then, but really there's not a number that you can put on it. Keep doing it over and over. If it takes you 500 times going from A minor to G to C before you can even get it somewhat decently fast, that's okay. You cannot compare yourself to someone else if they're switching at a faster speed than you. You do you, and practice one finger at a time. These techniques can apply to any chord changes that you're trying to learn, whether that's bar chords or open chords. I'm going to give you another example of practicing an open chord change, but throw in an E minor. So if we're starting on the G, you're going to do one finger at a time. That is the main technique, is just taking it one finger at a time. And that's really all you need to know. Just practice it over and over as much as you can. All right, starting with the ring finger, you're going to put it up here because you know that is where that goes for the E minor chord. Your middle finger, you're going to pull up to this fret on that string, and then your index is going to go down on the first fret, and I can slide this one over a little bit to get it in the perfect position. And then you're going to have that. Then going back to the G chord, this is going to go up here, this is going to go back here, and then this is going to pull right there. It's really just the matter of going over that again and again. Pull this back up, this here, and then this here. It definitely takes a lot of patience to do this, but it's so worth it in the end because, like I said, eventually you don't even have to think about it anymore because it's just in your mind of how that chord feels in that formation. The same concept of going one finger at a time can also be applied to bar chords, of course. So let's say you're starting on the B minor because that is the first chord in the progression. You're gonna have that there, and then the next chord is E. So instead of taking your fingers off, which is bad, you're just gonna slide it down to the 4th fret, keep that same formation. So you've moved your index finger first, and you realize that you put your pinky down here, and you can take that top one off. And you form the E chord going back to the B minor, slide down, put this finger on, and take your pinky off. It's going to be different depending on what chord you're playing. However, typically I start with switching this finger first and going down the line. And then if I'm playing with my pinky, I'll start by switching my pinky, then this, then this, then this. But with bar chords, it's a different story because I'll usually start sliding my index finger to the next spot that it's supposed to be in. Or if it's a B minor to an A chord, strum the B minor, I actually start with my middle finger and then I put this one down and take these off. So with that example, you can see how it's different depending on which chord you're transitioning between. You may be starting with your middle finger being the first one where you find the different spot that it's supposed to be in, and then you go to your index, or maybe you're starting with your index and going down the line. Maybe you're starting with your ring finger and going 1, 2, 3. There's not really a set method for it. It's just whatever you find easiest to do. Another example, going from G to F, I'm going to start by putting this one here because that's where it's supposed to be, putting this one up and then taking this one off. So it's actually not that difficult to practice your chord changes and get really good at them. The hardest thing here is just having the patience to practice it over and over and not get stressed out because you're going really slow. It's as simple as just taking your time to do one finger at a time and just go nice and slow and strum. And also, it's okay to look at your notes. And then another quick example, going from a C minor to the B chord, it's always the same thing, one finger at a time. So you're gonna take this finger, put it up here, take this one, put it up here, and then use your index to bar. Back to the C minor, bring this one down, and then this one down. Oh, my hair is getting in the way. So to put this entire lesson into one nice summary, number 1, never have all of your fingers off of the fretboard all at once. Unless if you're playing the chord that doesn't require any fingers. There is a chord like that. That's literally the chord. Other than that, never take all your fingers off the fretboard. Transition from chord to chord by going one finger at a time. Find the correct spot for one finger, then move on to the next one, get the correct spot for that, then go to the next one. Take it slow. It's okay. You don't have to be super speedy, and keep practicing the progression over and over as many times as it takes you to get to the speed that you want to be at. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I hope that this video was helpful. If it was, it'd be awesome if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I would love to have y'all back here for another lesson with me. I also have a playlist of all the ukulele tutorials that I've ever made, so feel free to go check that out and find a song that you want to learn. I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't forget to drink your water, eat your vegetables, and be a good person. I love y'all. Bye!